My parents once had friends over for dinner, and out of all the topics they discussed, one stayed with me. The friend mentioned that he had already bought a burial plot on family land, under a pretty little chapel in Spain where the rest of his family is already currently buried. That stuck with me, not because I spend a lot of time thinking about burials, but because I realized I had never thought about that, about where I would be buried. Just imagine, you're sitting there at the dinner table having a warm dinner, and suddenly your guest brings up the inevitable end of your life. Spoiler alert, we're all gonna die one day. And when that happens, most of us would like to be remembered, to have family and friends visit our graves, leave a few flowers, and, well, keep our memories alive. But for me, that raises an unsettling set of questions. Where am I from? Where is home? And where will I be buried? I've often pondered these questions, and I understand that for some people the answers might be easy, a place or a hometown. Not so for me though, or for the millions of other kids who have grown up outside their native countries. Home isn't just one place. So I began researching on identity and what it means to live outside of one's home country. And this is when I came across Dr. Ruth Usim, a sociologist who studied American children living in India and noticed that they didn't fully integrate into a single culture. Instead, they formed a shared way of life, or what she called the third culture. This concept, though, led me to something bigger, cross-cultural kids, or CCKs for short, when I realized that TCKs, or third culture kids, are actually just one of the many subgroups under that broader term cross-cultural kids. CCKs. Chameleon coaching defines a CCK as someone who has been significantly influenced by two or more cultural environments during their developmental years. Now, this includes people like missionary kids, military brats, immigrants, and so much more. Now, this was me. I've got Mexican influence, American influence, Thai, Chinese, even European influence. But not just me, many, many others. The 20th and 21st centuries have played a major role in this. People aren't staying in one place. They're moving around. How many of you guys here today, for example, aren't from Thailand? That in itself is a big testament to how rapidly and how much the world is changing, and how CCKs are our future. So after interviewing classmates, teachers, and researching more on this topic, I realized that there was a pattern forming, which was that CCKs tend to deal with certain struggles. Our first struggle is with identity and belonging. When someone asks us, "Where are you from?" there isn't a straight answer. Is it the country on my passport? If so, which one? Is it where I've lived in the longest, or where my parents are from? But then what if my parents aren't from the same place? See, things get complicated pretty quickly. Take Utah as an example. Utah is a student at my school who is Japanese, Thai, and Chinese, and when asked where he's from, he can confidently say, Japan. Why is that? Because that's the culture he personally feels most connected to. For me, though, it's a different story. See, at school, I'm around people from all over the world. Then I go home, and I'm in a Mexican household. When I'm not at home, I'm usually with Europeans. And then on weekends, I hold FaceTime calls with my Californian cousins. Not to mention the fact that I live in Thailand. So unlike Utah, I feel like every culture pulls at me, stretching me in different directions, like cheese. And I can tell you for a fact that it's a very uncomfortable position to be in. Now, I began school in China, where I started learning Chinese. Later on, I attended Thai schools, often the only foreigner in my class. This shaped me in ways that I didn't even realize at the time. Like, once at a cafe, my dad asked me to order his coffee for him. So he goes, "Sophia, I told you to order my coffee for me." But you see, in Thai culture, it's polite to speak softly, which is why I subconsciously adjusted my volume when ordering his coffee. My Mexican dad, who naturally speaks louder, didn't hear me order his Americano. So small moments like these remind me just how deeply culture influences us, even when we're not conscious of it. Our second struggle is with adapting to new cultures. Moving from place to place includes moving from school to school. A student moving from China or South Korea, for example, might find it difficult to get used to an American curriculum international school. I experienced this firsthand when I moved to an international school for the first time. There were no longer any rules on what hairstyles I could wear or what earrings I could use. Although I can tell you firsthand, wearing 2 braids every day for 6 years is no fun at all. My scalp still burns. It wasn't just that. It was the fact that I could ask questions openly now. I wasn't scolded if I didn't understand something. Class discussions were now encouraged. This opened a whole new world to me, both as a student and as a person. Daim, another student at my school who's originally from Kashmir, India, he shared a similar experience. See, he went from a strict rote memorization system in India to a more open, Western-style classroom that focused more on exploring the concepts being learned rather than memorizing them. And of course, it took him time to adjust, but eventually he was able to embrace it. CCKs often have to go through this same cycle of adaptation over and over again. Another big struggle is with academic gaps and inconsistencies, and this one is very closely linked to the one previously mentioned. Different schools have different calendars and curricula. A student moving from Australia to Thailand, for example, might find it strange that while in Australia schools start in January usually, here we have Thai schools that start in May, but then we have international schools that start all the way down in August. Gaps start to appear. When I moved to an international school for the first time, I remember not only did I have to get used to the fact that my classes were now in English, I also had to learn how to learn in a different system. Imagine that. You move to a new school, and not only do you have to deal with the whole being a new kid thing and a new language, you also have to relearn how to learn. This is the stuff that we do in kindergarten. Another big struggle, representing different cultures. As CCKs, we're often expected to fit into cultures we still don't fully understand. Miss Lily is a great example of this. Miss Lily is a teacher at my school who is originally from India but grew up in Nepal, and she says that she feels more connected to her childhood in Nepal than the little she remembers as a toddler in India. Now, she has an Indian passport, yes, but does that mean she's completely culturally Indian? Not at all. Same goes for me. I have an American passport, and so people often assume that because I have an American passport, I must only speak English and celebrate American holidays, when in reality, that's not the case. I speak Spanish at home with my family. It's my first language. And I don't celebrate things like 4th of July or Thanksgiving. The assumption that we must fully represent a culture simply because our passport seems to call for it can be frustrating at times. Now, a struggle that I see lots of CCKs face, and I know is really close to the hearts of many people, is with relationships and goodbyes. As CCKs, we often grow up knowing that friendships can be fleeting. I've seen friends leave for places like Italy, Spain, the US, Mexico, Australia, China, and each goodbye served as a reminder to me of how fragile our connections can be. Imagine, for instance, that you're the child of a missionary family living in South Africa, let's say. You're living there. Another missionary family arrives. You become fast friends with their kids. Everything's great. You play tag. Your parents are close friends. Until one day, their dad falls ill. And they're forced to go back to their country for treatment. And you're left heartbroken. Now, you don't understand. You're a kid. All you know is that you had a friend, and now they're gone. Now, years pass by, and the same thing happens again and again and again. Until eventually you decide, I'm not going to form deep friendships anymore. Not because I don't want friends, but because I don't want to feel that same pain again and again and again. The pain of knowing that no matter how much you love them, no matter how much they don't want to leave, they're going to leave anyway. This is the reality for many CCKs. A sad reality, but reality nonetheless. So what can schools do? As you've heard, many, if not most, of these struggles are naturally tied to school. Most CCKs are students. Our lives right now revolve around school and education. So what if schools were places where CCKs felt truly seen and supported? What would that look like? Schools could have cultural transition programs, structured orientations that not only fill the student in on the academic differences of this new school, but also on the cultural differences, on the language, the customs, the social norms, etc. All of this, not only for the students, but for their parents. Buddy systems could also work, pairing new students with peers and teachers who understand their experiences, who know what they're going through, who have felt what they are currently feeling right now. Cultural competence training for staff could also be really, really effective. Training staff to see the unique struggles and characteristics of each CCK will not only help the student themselves, it'll help build that healthy student-teacher relationship that we all want in our classrooms. In this way, think about it. Schools wouldn't just be places where we learn. They'd be much more than that. They'd be places where CCKs feel accepted, understood. A sort of second home, if you will. Speaking of home, where is home? I've decided that, at least for now, Thailand is home. But I know for a fact that at some point that will change. I don't know where I'll go to university. I don't know where I'll live in the future. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know where I'll be buried. But maybe that's okay. Because home isn't just one place. It's made up of all the cultures, connections, and people who I've met, who have molded me, who have shaped me into the person I am today. And that, I've learned, is enough. Thank you.